Living with littermates. As you know, one of our littermates, Ellie, passed away recently. I don't talk much about the dogs. Here and there I do. People want to see birds. But this is a perfect time for me to talk about my experience living with these crazy dogs. We weren't supposed to get two dogs. I had just lost my mom passed away and our 15-year-old shepherd passed away. I was looking for something to fill my life. It had left such a hole. When I went with my daughter to check out these German shepherds, they were absolutely adorable and they were tied at the hip. I was still grieving and crying, like picking up these puppies. I was crying. It wasn't smart for me to do that, but that's here nor there now. Anyways, back to the store. They were so cute, and I said, okay, Jensa, you can have the fluffy one, and I'll take this one. So it was perfect, right? Our daughter would have a dog, and we would have a dog. And bringing the two puppies home in a car, because these two dogs, they were over 15 weeks, purebred sable working shepherds, not exposed to men or other environments, very sheltered, and had very little exposure to anything, really. So they were fearful. Bringing them home in the truck, they were just hilarious. They were climbing all over. And when we tried to get them out of the truck, they'd run under the truck and over the truck. And we couldn't catch them both. They were running away from us. That should have been a sign. But as an animal lover, I wanted to save these dogs. In my head, I was like the perfect home for fearful dogs. The father was a black shepherd and the mother was a black and tan shepherd. She actually was imported and she was handler aggressive. The father was an RCMP trainee, but he would attack older people. So he was fired. This information was never disclosed to me, but after figuring out like what have I got myself into with these dogs that like bite and are scared and everything, I looked into their papers and traced all that back. Someone helped me. So now we've established that we have two unstable shepherd puppies. And I'm just a dog girl, right? Every dog I ever had was a nice dog. My first mistake was people thought they were so cute. They loved the dogs. They wanted to pet the dogs. So I was like, okay, well, here, you can pet them. You know, I'm socializing them. They would hide behind my legs, and I'd pull them out from behind my legs and make them let people pet them. Wrong. They learned that if they barked and scared the people wouldn't want to pet them anymore. So now, here I am. They don't want anything to do with people because I would make them be with people or let strangers pet them. So now I'm looking for trainers that are experienced in fearful dogs that are aggressive. If you've dealt with trainers, you know there's so many different types out there with so many different methods, and they all believe in their method, and they're very
Good
judgy.
girl, Izzy, come on.
And
Come on, Izzy.
very, elitist, I should say.
Good girl.
But I'm trusting them all because I know, okay, well, these people know what they're talking about. The first trainer, she was the positive reinforcement type, like complete positive reinforcement, but also exposure. So I would bring Izzy to a training class, and Izzy would be in a pen while all the other dogs were playing around, and so Izzy could watch. But Izzy was like barking and lunging and everything. So that ended quite quickly. It was making it worse. I was taking Izzy for a walk, and I was walking along the street, and Izzy was about to go to the bathroom, and a lady came up behind us and went to pet Izzy. Izzy freaked and lunged at her and nipped her. I died. Then, to top it off, the woman was yelling up and down the street, "Watch out for that lady, she has a dangerous dog." I was so embarrassed. So now I'm on a different stage of training. Now I'm looking for, I'm learning, researching, and people say go to people who specialize in reactive dogs. Bad idea. Their idea was to bring a whole bunch of reactive dogs into a room and basically push them down on the ground so they don't react. I would call that flooding. So I felt so bad there. I felt like I broke the trust. You know what I mean? Like by putting her through that class, we've now broken a trust that she had in me. Because I was forcing her to do something she didn't want to do, and I had to be physical and hold her down. So I went to one class, and that was it. And I was so mad at myself that I didn't even walk out. Then again, you're trusting the experts they tell you they're experts. You believe in them, so you go for it. So now we're on to our third trainer. This trainer suggested I would do a board and train. And we were going away, so I thought, okay, well, I'll do a board and train while we're away in Mexico, and Izzy can just stay at this board and train, and I'll come back and she'll be all trained. Well, 2 or 3 days into the trip, I called the place and I asked how Izzy was doing. Oh, she hasn't come out of her kennel, she said. I'm like, what? I guess the trainer said that she couldn't come out unless she became comfortable with the trainer or take food from her. But Izzy was petrified. So my daughter had to go on a rescue mission to break Izzy out of that training center. Remember, I'm dealing with Izzy and my daughter's dealing with Ellie. So I'm back to square one. I find another trainer. She was really good. I think she was my favorite. She took one look at the girls and she said, Ellie will always be fearful, and Izzy you'll be able to work with. And after all these years, her prediction came true. Her type of training was reward and redirect. So if the dog, you can watch the dog's body language, and if you feel like it's ogling in too much, then you kind of redirect the dog with treats and rewards and all that. And she was the best. Izzy wasn't cured by any means, but it helped me understand and learn her body language. Now, remember, my daughter is a 19-year-old, and she has a dog like Izzy, but times 10. Ellie was hyper and had separation anxiety, and my daughter's 19, and she's just trying to make it in this world, and it was decided that Ellie would come to live with us. Oh, they were so cute together, but Ellie picked my husband out right away, and she stuck to his leg, and that was it. So here we are. We've got these 2 dogs, and we're like, okay, well, let's take vacations with them. We took them down the Oregon coast, and they were crazy, right? We're talking dogs that are so powerful, full of energy. They want to go, go, go. Taking them to the beach, we figure, oh, let's let them run or whatever. They can go in the water and swim, and everything's going to be perfect. We took them off leash briefly. Ellie saw a little girl running, and it triggered something in Ellie, and Ellie chased her and nipped her ankle. Oh my God, we died. We were so sorry, and we talked to the parent and everything. It was a nightmare, and we got out of there so fast. We're like, okay, this is a bad idea. They need to be leashed at all times, and we'll deal with that. I'm sure many of you are listening to this, and you can see where I'm going wrong in all this, and totally I'm going wrong with a lot of different things. But I was just, I was just looking for answers and trying to think these dogs are going to be normal, right? They're going to be normal dogs. Who has dogs that are 2 dogs like this? But I was just held up hope. They'll change. And Brad, well, he was more forgiving, just thinking each little incident is oh, she'll never do it again. I got mad at her. You know what I mean? I called him the untrainer. I would spend hours a day training the dogs, tricks and all that stuff. And he would stand there, and if they broke the training or whatever, and went to him, he'd laugh. So they were getting rewarded by him because he was like, giving them attention when they broke through the training I was going through with them, like at the moment. So I would do it without him around. Talk about smart. These dogs were so smart. We did crate train them because of the birds. They would be in the crates when the birds were out, and I did a lot of training with them. They weren't allowed to ogle at the birds. They could glance at the birds, etc. The crate training went on probably 2 years, and then the crates became their safe space. So while one was out of the crate, I trained the other. We did a lot of different tricks and everything, and Izzy was the smart one, so I trained Izzy first. And then Ellie was kind of the artist, so she was like really wingy and easily distracted. But she would watch Izzy trains, and she'd want what Izzy was getting, so she would follow by example. So this is kind of the baseline of the first few months of owning the dogs. So I'm probably up to 9 months old now, and I wanted to kind of give you guys all the basics of how they ended up with us and the mistakes I made at the beginning and the mistakes we made as a family at the beginning. And, people will say, oh, they're stupid or whatever. We used to get that all the time. People would say, you should give one to a farm. Well, how do you give one to a farm? Which one do you give away? That was the most dumbest comment I would get. Or others would say, just get rid of the dogs. Brad and I enjoyed the dogs, and we enjoyed the challenges they gave us. Every day was an adventure with the dogs, and we would laugh at them and try and keep them busy. Like, they were our everything for the first few months. We were just trying to figure them out and enjoy them at the same time, of course. Oh, and my daughter and I, we would laugh our heads off at the two of them together because they were so crazy. They fed off each other. The crazy fed off each other. One time, the one went around Brad's legs with the leash and pulled Brad, and he went flying, and my daughter and I were laughing our heads off, and he was mad. It was just every other day there was something like that with them. So that's the beginning of adopting 2 German Shepherd Littermates.